The soldier opened his eyes and saw a strange ceiling above him. It wasn't the metal roof of a military tent, and it wasn't the sky either. It was soft white stone, glowing slightly. For a second, he didn't know where he was. His body ached, and he felt weak, like he had been asleep for a long time. He tried to sit up but groaned. His chest was wrapped in bandages, and both of his arms were sore. He looked around the room. It was quiet, too quiet. The bed he was lying on felt soft, too soft for a battlefield. Then he heard it. A voice, very low, very soft, like a breath near his ear. "Are you my new master?" The soldier turned his head fast, ignoring the pain in his neck. In the corner of the room, in the shadows, someone was kneeling. A girl. She wasn't human. She had pale purple skin that glowed faintly in the low light. Her hair was white, falling like silk over her shoulders. She was wearing a simple dress and a thin metal collar around her neck. Her eyes were large, bright, and scared. The soldier blinked. "What?" The girl didn't move. She stayed kneeling with her head down, hands resting on her knees. "I was told you are the one," she said in a quiet voice. "They said you are my new master now. I belong to you." His heart began to race. "Who told you that?" he asked. "The tall one with the golden armor. He said I was your reward for bravery. He gave me the collar and brought me here." The soldier felt cold all over. He tried to remember. The battle, yes, he was sent with a small unit to help the Terran Empire stop an uprising on one of their moons. The fighting was brutal. He was injured in the final charge. Then nothing, only darkness. And now this. He looked at the girl again. She couldn't be older than 20 in human years, maybe less. Her arms were thin, her shoulders trembling. She wasn't speaking like someone who wanted to be here. She sounded like someone who had no choice. "You're not my reward," he said firmly. "You're a person." She raised her head slightly, eyes wide. "But I was told I must serve. If not, they will send me back." "I don't want to go back." "Back where?" "To the house where they keep the others, where the broken ones are sent. Please," her voice shook, "let me stay. I will do whatever you say." He looked at her again. She wasn't lying. She was terrified. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. "And I'm not your master." The girl didn't respond. Her hands gripped her dress tightly. Just then, the door too. The room opened. A tall alien with golden armor and black skin stepped in. His face had no expression. "Ah, soldier," the alien said. "Good to see you awake. You survived well. What is this?" The soldier asked. "Who is she?" "A gift," the alien replied simply. "You risked your life for our empire. She is our way of showing honor." "I don't want a gift," the soldier said. The alien didn't look surprised. "That is your choice. But do not shame the empire. You are free to send her back, though her fate there is not gentle." The soldier looked at the girl. She was staring at the floor, lips pressed tight. The alien nodded and walked out, leaving silence behind. The soldier leaned back slowly, trying to understand what just happened. This wasn't a hospital. This was a palace. He had been moved while unconscious. He had been placed here with her. The girl still knelt. "You can sit," he said gently. "You don't need to kneel." She looked confused. "But that's what I was taught. I must kneel until told to stop." "Well, I'm telling you, you don't have to. You can sit anywhere. Even on the bed, if you want." She didn't move for a moment. Then slowly, like she was afraid someone would strike her, she crawled toward the bed and sat carefully at the edge. Her hands shook. He noticed a scar on her ankle, hidden under the dress. "What's your name?" he asked. She shook her head. "They never gave me one. I was just called number 8. Something twisted in his chest. Then we'll fix that," he said. "You deserve better." For the first time, she looked at him directly. Her lips parted slightly, and in her eyes, there was something new, something that looked like hope, but only a little. And the soldier knew. Right then, this wasn't about rewards or orders anymore. It was about saving her, and he had already made his choice. Asterisk, she didn't eat the fruit. She only stared at it, unsure if it was real or some kind of test. The soldier sat nearby, watching her carefully. He had asked for simple food to be brought to the room, some bread, soft fruits, and water. She had not touched any of it. It's not poisoned, he said gently. Her eyes moved toward him, but she didn't speak. Her hands stayed in her lap, fingers tightly interlocked. He noticed how still she was. She didn't scratch her nose, didn't move her legs, didn't blink too often. Like she had been trained to take up as little space as possible. You're safe here, he said again. That made her head drop. Safe means nothing. The soldier leaned forward. Why do you say that? They always said that. Before. They gave me to the last one. His jaw tightened. He felt the old military instinct rising inside him. Not anger at her, but at whoever had done this to her. What happened before they brought you here? The girl slowly moved her hand to touch the thin metal collar around her neck. They cleaned me, dressed me, told me to kneel and smile. Then they said, if he likes you, you live in comfort. If not, she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. He stood up and walked toward the table, slicing the fruit himself. He took a bite and then placed the rest on a plate and held it out. She stared at it. Not a command, he said, just an offer. She slowly reached out. Her fingers brushed the fruit, then pulled back. But after a moment, she took it. She nibbled once, carefully, then chewed like it might disappear. He let out a quiet breath. Small steps. What should I call you? He asked. She looked puzzled. I told you, they never gave me a name, just a number. You deserve a name. Everyone does. I don't know any names. The soldier smiled a little. Then I'll give you some options, and you pick the one you like. She tilted her head. Pick? Yes, he nodded. You choose. Not me. That word, choose, felt foreign in her ears. She repeated it softly, like she didn't believe it was real. That night, she fell asleep curled up on the edge of the long couch, not the bed. He had offered it, but she refused gently. The floor is fine, she said at first. But after some convincing, she took the couch like it was a treasure. While she slept, the soldier stayed awake. He didn't trust the quiet. He knew the Terran. Nobles didn't give things for free. This was not a kind gift. It was a trap, a leash, tied to a living being. He opened the small data pad they left by the bedside. The girl's records weren't there. Nothing about where she came from, who her people were, or why she was chosen. She didn't exist on paper. The next morning, she was already awake and kneeling before the window. She looked out at the glowing city, her face unreadable. What are you thinking? He asked. I never thought I'd see the outside. It's brighter than I imagined. He joined her at the window. Alien towers of crystalline light stretched across the horizon. Flying ships moved in smooth lines. Below, gardens floated between buildings like clouds. I want to know what you want, he said. I want. She paused, the words stuck. I want to not be afraid anymore. He looked at her. Then I'll help you. I don't care what the Empire thinks. She looked at him, eyes wide. They said if I'm returned, I'll be punished. They call me property, you can't. Free me, they won't let you. I don't ask permission to do the right thing, he said. She turned her face slightly, hiding something, a tear maybe. Later, when servants entered the room to check on him, she stood and bowed like a trained doll. They ignored her completely, talking only to the soldier, but he watched her expression carefully. He saw how her shoulders tensed, how her eyes went distant. When the visitors left, he placed a hand near her. Not touching, just showing. You don't have to bow for anyone. Again. She whispered back, if I don't, they'll notice. That's when he knew this wouldn't be easy. To free her, he couldn't just break chains. He had to teach her that she wasn't born to wear them, and somewhere deep inside, He wondered how. Many others like her were still kneeling, waiting in silence, hoping someone would ask their name. The dress was beautiful soft silver threads, floating fabric, delicate embroidery like starlight, but she stared at it as if it were made of knives. "It's for the palace dinner," the attendant had said with a smile that never reached. Her eyes, "Your master will be expected to present you." The alien girl stood in front of the mirror, the gown hanging in her hands. She didn't move, didn't speak. Her glowing skin reflected off the polished glass. Her white hair was brushed, smooth and tied with thin gold rings. But nothing could cover the fear in her eyes. The soldier watched from across the room. He had just returned from a meeting with the Terran guards. They were planning a banquet to celebrate the end of the war campaign. Every honored soldier was to appear with their reward. He clenched his fists. "She wasn't a reward. You don't have to wear it," he said quietly. She flinched. "But I must. They will be angry if I don't look perfect." He walked to her slowly. "No one touches you. No one commands you tonight. If they try, I'll stop them." She looked down at the dress. "It's not the dress that frightens me. It's what comes after." Later, she stepped into the gown, her fingers trembling. She didn't know how to enjoy beauty. To her, soft fabric always came with sharp rules. When she stepped out of the dressing room, even the soldier was stunned for a second. She was breathtaking, but she didn't smile. When they entered the banquet hall, golden light spilled from chandeliers above. Tall alien nobles in robes of living silk whispered as they saw her. She walked 2 steps behind the soldier, her gaze low. The commander approached. "Ah, Captain," he said. "I see your reward has been presented properly. She's quite the specimen." The soldier's jaw tightened. "She has a name now," he said coldly. The commander blinked. "Really? That's unusual." He didn't respond. He just placed his hand gently behind her back, close enough to be seen, but never touching. "A signal, a shield," the girl whispered. "Should I speak or stay silent?" "Whatever you choose," he whispered back. For the first time, she lifted her head. Not high, but just enough to meet a few stares. Some of the nobles looked amused. A few looked displeased. One woman narrowed her eyes. "She's dangerous," the woman whispered as the soldier passed. "Too much spirit. You should return her before she breaks something." He pretended not to hear. Hours passed. Dancers performed. Wine flowed. Alien music echoed across crystal walls. But the girl remained close to the soldier, quiet and tense. At one point, a noble reached out to touch her arm. She froze, her breath stopped. The soldier moved instantly, stepping between them. "Don't," he said, voice cold. The noble laughed. "Relax, she's yours. I'm just admiring your taste. She's not for show." The man raised his hands and walked away. After that, she didn't speak for the rest of the evening. Back in the chamber, she began to pull off the dress, but her hands wouldn't stop shaking. "Let me help," the soldier offered. "No," she said quickly. "I can do it. I was trained. I know how to remove it without damage." He stepped back, hurt not by her refusal, but by the fact she thought she needed to apologize for it. When she finally sat down in her plain sleeping gown, he brought over a cup of water. She took it and drank slowly. "You did well tonight," he said. "I followed what they taught me." "No," he said. "You lifted your head. You spoke in front of them. That wasn't training. That was you." She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "I didn't think I could. But when you said I could choose, I wanted to try." He sat down across from her. "They dressed you in silk, but they still see the chains." "I see something else." "What?" she asked, voice small. "Someone trying to learn how to be free." She looked at him for a long time. Her fingers touched the collar still locked around her neck. "Even if you remove this, the weight won't leave." "Then I'll stay," he said. "Until the weight is gone, or until you no longer need me." She didn't smile. But she didn't look away either. That night, she didn't sleep on the couch. She curled up on the carpet beside his bed, refusing to take the space meant for him. But she slept with one hand stretched toward him. He didn't move it away. Asterisk. The collar shimmered in the morning light like it belonged to a treasure, but it was nothing more than a chain. A silent reminder that her life was not her own. She sat by the window again, knees tucked to her chest, while the soldier paced behind her. Neither had touched breakfast. Neither had spoken in over 10 minutes. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was thick, like a wall of glass between two storms. Finally, the door buzzed. A Terran officer stepped in with a formal scroll, wearing silver armor polished to perfection. He gave a respectful nod to the soldier, then set the scroll down with care. "It is time to finalize your bond," he said. "The Empire expects you to sign this contract today. With it, the girl becomes your full property. She will be listed under your name and protected by Terran law as your reward and your responsibility." The soldier didn't move. "And if I don't sign?" The officer raised an eyebrow. "Then she is returned to the processing chambers. There, she will be reassigned, possibly sold, possibly reconditioned. Her fate will no longer be your concern." The girl didn't look up. She stayed curled, small and silent, as if she already knew this day was coming. The officer bowed once and left the scroll behind. Exiting without another word, the soldier stared at the document. It was printed in both Terran and human script. At the bottom was a blank space for his signature. Just a line, one stroke. And she would be his fully legally forever. He turned to her. "Do you want to leave?" She didn't respond. "Do you want to be free?" "I don't know what that means," she whispered. "It means no one owns you. No one controls you. You decide where to go, who to be." She slowly stood up and faced him. "And if I choose wrong? If I don't know how to live?" Her voice trembled. "What if I only know how to obey?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "Then I'll teach you. If you fall, I'll catch you. But I'll never tie you down." She reached out, touching the scroll gently. "If you don't sign this, they'll punish me." "They might try," he said, "but I won't let them." She looked at him, searching his face for doubt, and found none. Then came the knock dot. It wasn't the soft kind. It was sharp, urgent, and cold. 2 armored guards stepped inside. Behind them stood an older alien woman in black ceremonial robes. Her eyes were hard, sharp like broken glass. "I am the High Recorder," she said. "I have come to witness the signing. Refusal will be noted as a direct insult to the Terran Council." The soldier stepped forward. "And if I reject the gift, if I send her back, then her file will be erased," the woman said. "She will return to the breeding camps, no name, no identity, only function." The girl flinched. The soldier's fists clenched. "You call this honor?" "It is mercy," the recorder replied. "She was never meant to have a voice, but we offered you one. A symbol of reward. If you do not want her, we will make use of her elsewhere." He looked at the girl. She wasn't crying. But her hands shook. She was ready for pain. She was ready for loss, but not for kindness. He stepped back. "Leave us. I will sign when I'm ready." The recorder frowned. "You have until nightfall." They left. He turned back to the girl. "I'm going to tear this whole system down," he muttered, "starting with this lie." She looked at him confused. "You didn't sign." "Because I'm not taking you as property," he said. "But I'm also not giving you up." "But you said they'll punish." "Let them try," he interrupted. "I'll protect you. I'll protect others too. But I need your trust." She looked down. "You already have it." "No," he said softly. "I want more than obedience. I want your voice, your choice." She stepped forward and placed her hand over the scroll, then slowly tore it in half. "I don't want to be given any more," she said, her voice firm. I want to be chosen. And I choose to stay. Something cracked open between them, not romance, not yet, but something deeper. A bond of shared defiance. A quiet rebellion. That night, the guards came to check the scroll. They found the pieces. In the fireplace, and 2 sets of footprints walking out of the palace, side by side. The palace lights never went out, but deep in the servant corridors, shadows moved freely. That's where the soldier now walked, keeping his head down and his steps quiet. Beside him, cloaked in an oversized robe and hood, walked the alien. Girl, her eyes darting, breath tight in her chest. If they were caught, it would be over. The plan wasn't perfect. It was stitched together with guesswork and favors. But it was their only chance. A resistance contact, someone known only as Red, had sent a message 3 days ago through a hacked data panel. It was short and direct. If you want to free her, come to the base of the water tower. Midnight. Alone. Now they moved through the cold underbelly of the palace, where even the nobles wouldn't tread. Pipes dripped. Lights flickered. No music played here. Only silence and the low hum of hidden machines. You sure this is the way? The girl whispered. He nodded. There's a hatch near the storage wing. It'll take us into the outer sector. From there, we follow the old aqueduct. She clutched his arm tighter. They'll chase us. I know, he said, but we won't be alone. They reached the hatch. It was sealed with a simple lock, but simple to him. He pried it open with a small military blade, then pushed it slowly. Cold air swept in, beyond. The hatch, the world was different. No golden towers, no polished halls. Just cracked stone streets and the smell of dust and iron. They stepped into the undercity. No guards, no cameras. Only darkness, but as they moved through the maze of tunnels, the girl suddenly stopped. Wait, she whispered. He turned. What is it? She pointed to the corner where a shimmer of light pulsed unnaturally, then flickered out. Watch her drone, she said. It just cloaked. He cursed under his breath. They knew we'd run. She looked panicked. What do we do? He pulled her behind a wall. We changed the plan. He tapped his wrist communicator 3 times, then paused. Then once more. It was the backup signal. A code known only by one person. Seconds later, a panel in the wall opened with a soft hiss. A young alien male with dark green skin and cybernetic eyes stepped out. You're lucky, he said. Red's waiting. The girl hesitated. The stranger saw it. I'm not with the nobles, he said. I was born in the breeding camps too. I escaped. Now I help others. She looked at the soldier. He nodded. He's with us. They followed the stranger into the hidden passage. Inside, the air was cleaner, the walls warmer. It wasn't a palace, but it felt safer. At the end of the corridor, they entered a small underground room, with old maps and monitors showing live footage of the city. Red was waiting. To the soldier's surprise, Red was a woman. A scar across her cheek. Half of her hair shaved. Sharp eyes. Sharp voice. You brought her? She asked, stepping forward. Yes, he said, but they saw us. One drone already tracked us in Sector 5. Red cursed. They're moving faster than I thought. She turned to the girl. Do you want to be free? The girl blinked. Yes. Then you follow every word I say, Red said. No hesitation. I can do that. Red studied her. You're not broken. That's good. We don't need quiet dolls. We need survivors. The girl straightened. Her fear was still there, but it was wrapped in something new. Resolve. Red explained the plan. They would use a smuggler route through the waste canals. The final checkpoint was 3 hours away. If they made it to the surface near the northern cliff line, a hidden transport would extract them. One chance. No second tries. But before they left, Red placed a small device in the soldier's hand. What's this? He asked. A tracker bomb, she said. If they capture you, use it. Destroy everything. We can't let them trace us back here. He nodded slowly. The girl watched him closely. You're risking your life. So are you, he said. She walked over and took his hand. If we make it, can I choose a new name? He looked at her and smiled. You can choose anything. She smiled back. Not a wide smile, but real. That night, they moved through tunnels, past steaming vents and old war debris. They crawled through sludge and waited in silence when a patrol passed above Dot at one point. A siren echoed in the distance. They had been discovered. They ran. The girl stumbled, fell, but the soldier pulled her up. We're almost there. He shouted. Dot then. Ahead they saw an opening in the wall, and beyond it, starlight. Freedom. But behind them, heavy footsteps grew louder. Asterisk. The plan was dead. The sky was close, but the soldiers were closer. Black armored Terran enforcers dropped into the tunnel with sonic rifles drawn. The air buzzed with danger. The girl froze, caught between a step toward freedom and the voices calling her by the color code. Not her name, Subject 8. One officer barked. Return to your assigned owner, or force will be used. The soldier stepped in front of her, hands raised. She's with me. She's Imperial property. Another guard snapped. You're a human guest, nothing more. Stand aside. The girl reached for the soldier's arm, whispering, It's over. But then he surprised everyone. He didn't fight. He didn't run. He smiled. Forgive the chaos, he said loudly. This was all a training exercise. The guards paused. What? The soldier raised his voice. I am finalizing my claim over this subject. I needed to test her loyalty. If she fled, she would be unworthy. But she returned to me. See, she's kneeling now. The girl looked confused until she saw the faint shake of his head. He wasn't betraying her. He was bluffing. She dropped to one knee slowly, playing the part. The lead officer narrowed his eyes. We were told she was attempting escape. I authorized the test myself, the soldier said. It was not logged due to secrecy. The guards exchanged looks. One of them stepped forward and scanned the girl's collar. It blinked red. She is still unclaimed, the officer said. No final bond has been submitted. The soldier reached into his coat and pulled out a forged datapad. Red's final gift. Then scan this. The final contract is inside. The guard took the pad, hesitated, then scanned. The red light turned green. She's registered, the guard confirmed. All legal. He tossed the pad back. Keep her under control next time. They turned and walked out. The silence afterward was louder than the sirens. The girl slowly stood, her voice shaking. Why did you say those words? I had to, he said. To make them believe the lie. They only understand ownership. They wouldn't listen to truth. Her eyes filled with something heavy. You made me kneel again, he nodded. And I hated it, but I'd do it again if it keeps you free. She turned away. I thought I was more than a reward now. You are, he said quietly. But if I didn't act like a master, they would have taken you back. She sat down on the stone floor, shoulders trembling. I almost believed it too. For a moment, I thought maybe I did belong to someone again. He knelt beside her. You don't belong to anyone, but sometimes the world won't let us speak in truth. Sometimes we have to speak their language to break their rules. Her head turned slowly toward him. That means I'll always have to hide. Always pretend. Not forever, he said. Only until we reach the end of this road. She stared at the tunnel's end, where moonlight flickered through cracks in the stone. Then let's run. While we still can. They moved fast, silent. Focused, angry. Outside, the cliff winds howled. A small camouflaged craft was waiting near the ridge, exactly where Red said it would be. Its engine was already humming, but then shouts from behind. The patrol had doubled back. They had scanned deeper. The bluff had worked, but only for minutes. The guards opened fire, The soldier turned, grabbing the girl's hand. "Get to the ship." She hesitated. "I won't leave you. I'll be right behind you." She ran. He pulled out the tracker bomb Red had given him. He tossed it into the collapsing tunnel and dived toward the ship. The blast rocked the ridge. Dust filled the air. The girl was already inside the ship, screaming his name. He leapt in. Just as the door slammed shut, the pilot, a wide-eyed rebel teen, launched the craft without a word. They soared into the clouds, away from the Empire's reach. Inside, the girl sat shaking. The soldier knelt in front of her. "You're not a prize," he said. "You never were." She touched his face with one shaking hand. "Then don't call me 8, not ever again." He smiled, blood still trickling down his cheek. "Then tell me the name you choose." The ship glided through the clouds, silent now. No more sirens, no more orders. Just sky and the steady thrum of freedom beneath their feet. The alien girl sat by the viewport, wrapped in a worn blanket. She stared at the stars like she'd never seen them before, like they were watching her back for the first time. The soldier stood nearby, cleaning the cut on his cheek with a strip of cloth. His body ached, but it wasn't the pain that mattered now. It was her. It had always been her, since the moment she whispered in the dark, "Are you my new master?" She was no one's property anymore. The pilot, a quiet teenage rebel with bright copper skin and a scar under one eye, finally broke the silence. "We'll land in about an hour. After that, I'll drop you in the woods near the sanctuary zone. No signals, no tracking. The Empire can't find you there." The soldier nodded. "Thank you." The pilot nodded back but said nothing more. Behind them, the girl stood slowly. Her bare feet patted softly across the floor as she approached the soldier. "I've been thinking," she said. He turned toward her. "About what?" "My name." He waited. "I don't want a fancy name," she said. "Not something they'd write in a file. I want something simple, something only I own." He smiled. "Then pick it." She looked out the window again, eyes scanning the stars. "When I was in the camps, I used to watch the sky through the cracks in the ceiling. I didn't know what the stars were, but I thought maybe they were eyes, soft eyes, watching me, not judging, just waiting." He nodded, silent, letting her speak. "I named them in my head. I gave each one a secret name. The brightest one," she pointed at a blue star outside. "I called that one Luma, because even when the nights were darkest, that one didn't fade." "Luma," he repeated. "That's beautiful. That's what I want to be called," she said. "Not 8, not subject, not property. Just Luma." The soldier stepped forward and gently touched her shoulder. "Then Luma it is." Her eyes shimmered, not glowing like before, but wet with emotion. "Does it sound strange, giving yourself a name?" "No," he said. "It sounds like power." She exhaled, slowly, like she had just set down a weight she'd carried her whole life. Later, as the ship descended into a thick forest, the pilot gave them a bundle of supplies. Shelter kit, heat packs, rations, enough to get you started. The soldier helped Luma down the ramp. The air was cool, the trees tall and green, reaching high toward the stars. Birds chirped. Wind whispered through the leaves. It was quiet, but alive. She looked around like a child seeing color for the first time. "Is this real?" "Yes," he said, "and it's yours." They hiked for half a mile before finding a hidden glade near a stream. The soldier set up the shelter pod and lit the perimeter beacon. It wouldn't broadcast far, just enough to scan for threats. Luma collected wildflowers and set them gently near the entrance. That night, she sat beside the soldier by a small fire, holding a cup of warm tea in her hands. "I never thought I'd live past 20, she said. "They told us we weren't made for long lives, just for use." "They lied," she nodded. "I know that now. I know. Because I've seen how it feels to be treated like I matter. And I want to learn how to live like that every day." The soldier stirred the fire. You already are. She leaned against his shoulder, not with fear, not with obedience, with trust. I'm still afraid, she whispered. So am I, he said. But I'm not alone now. No, you never will be again. They sat in silence. Not the silence of captivity, but the silence of peace. And above them, the stars blinked slowly. Like old friends watching from a distance. In the weeks to come, Luma learned to fish, to plant food, to build things with her hands that weren't meant for survival, but for joy. She laughed. She danced in the rain one morning, barefoot and free. And one day, she looked at the soldier and said, I want to help others like me. I want to go back, not to stay, but to pull someone else out. Just like you did for me, he smiled. Then we'll go together. Because their story didn't end with a rescue. It began with a name spoken for the first time, not as a command, but as a promise. Luma. No longer a subject, no longer silent, just a girl beneath the stars who finally belonged to herself.